Pogrom is a Russian word that means to destroy, destroy by force. Historically, the term referred to violent attacks by local non-Jewish residents against Jews in the Russian Empire and in other countries. What is believed to be the first incident to be labeled a pogrom was the anti-Jewish riots in Odessa in 1821. As a descriptive term, pogrom came into common use along with widespread anti-Jewish riots that hit Ukraine and southern Russia in 1881–1884, following the assassination of Tsar Alexander II. In Germany and Eastern Europe during the Holocaust era, such as Tsarist Russia, anger against Jews over economic, social, and political aspects reinforced traditional religious anti-Semitism and became a pretext for pogroms. The perpetrators of the pogroms organized locally, sometimes with encouragement from the government and police. They raped and murdered Jewish victims and looted their property. During the Civil War that followed the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917, Ukrainian nationalists, Polish officials, and Red Army troops all engaged in pogrom-like violence in western Belorussia, Belarus, and the Polish province of Galicia, now western Ukraine, massacring tens of thousands of Jews, from 1918 to 1920. After the Nazis seized power in Germany in 1933, Adolf Hitler publicly put a stamp on chaos and acts of violence. In practice, however, street violence against Jews was tolerated, and even encouraged during certain periods, when the Nazi leadership calculated that violence would prepare the German population for harsh anti-Semitic legal and administrative measures, and was implemented ostensibly to restore order. For example, the orchestrated nationwide campaign of street violence known as Kristallnacht on November 9 to 10, 1938, was the culmination of a long period of sporadic street violence against Jews. This street violence had begun with riots in Vienna following the Austrian Anschluss in March. Kristallnacht was followed by a dramatic surge in anti-Jewish legislation during the fall and winter of 1938–1939. Another period of street violence had enveloped the first 2 months of the Nazi regime and culminated in legislation dismissing Jews and communists from government employment on April 7, 1933. The summer before the promulgation of the Nuremberg race laws in September 1935, there was frequent violence against Jews in various cities in Germany. The street violence included the burning of synagogues, the destruction of Jewish-owned homes and businesses, and physical attacks on individuals. Kristallnacht was by far the largest, most destructive, and most obviously orchestrated of all the pogroms in existence. During World War II, the Einsatzgruppen, best known as mobile killing units, received orders from Security Police Chief Reinhard Heydrich to tolerate and even encourage indigenous people living in newly conquered Soviet territories to stage pogroms. Pogroms, with varying degrees of spontaneity, in cities such as Białystok, Kovno, Lvov, and Riga perfected the German policy of systematically exterminating entire Jewish communities in the Soviet Union. On June 29, 1941, when Nazi Germany and its Axis partner Romania invaded the Soviet Union, Romanian officials and military units, occasionally assisted by German soldiers, massacred at least 8,000 Jews during a pogrom in Iasi, in the Romanian province of Moldavia. On July 10, 1941, residents of Jedwabne in Poland, a small town in the Białystok district, occupied first by the Soviet Union, and then by the Germans, took part in the massacre of hundreds of Jews around them. Although responsibility for instigating this pogrom is not completely clear, scholars have documented at least a German police presence in the city at the time of the massacre. In the late summer of 1941, increasing cases of corruption, looting, acts of revenge, destruction of important economic resources and the infiltration of former communists into groups carrying out pogroms led German authorities to stop the practice on the Eastern Front. The SS and German police units disbanded the hastily recruited auxiliary police units and began carrying out systematic and controlled massacres of entire Jewish communities in the occupied Soviet Union. Although Germany stopped pogroms as a tool of extermination policy, pogroms did not end with the end of World War II. In Kielce, Poland, local residents staged a pogrom against surviving Jews returning to the city on July 4, 1946. The mob attacked Jews after false rumors spread that Jews had kidnapped a Christian child to be killed for a religious ritual. The rioters killed around 42 Jews and injured more than 50 people. The pogrom in Kielce was one of the factors that led to the mass westward migration of hundreds of thousands of Jewish Holocaust survivors. Known as Brihä, this movement brought Jews from Poland and other Eastern European countries to refugee camps located in the west zone of occupied Germany and Austria, as well as in Italy. Fear of pogroms accompanied by violence became a motivation that made most Jews try to leave post-war Europe.